Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 4 here in the Frosty Space Hut. Today our goal is to take this saltwater geyser and turn it into an oxygen production machine. So we're going to need to take the salt water that's coming out of it and run it through an electrolyzer after we desalinate it to produce oxygen and hydrogen that will power and provide oxygen to our base. I would love nothing more than to just dig right in here and get to work. But I haven't been keeping up with my research like I should, and so we have some things we need to do before we can do that. In order to make a electrolyzer system, we need an electrolyzer, of course. We also need our desalinator in order to process our salt water into clean water to run through the electrolyzer. We also are going to need, from our power line up here, we need to get our hydrogen generator, which is down here, some other bits and bobs to connect it and run it, as well as our smart battery to automate it. We also need some automation, which is down here in the computers line, and we also need, from our gas section, all the things we need to set up the ventilation to take the gases where we need them to go. Hydrogen to the hydrogen generator, oxygen to our dupes. So we have quite a bit of research to do, so I'm going to start out just by knocking out the research while we get some digging done and get things started so we're at a good spot that we can get started building. So, good news, bad news situation. Good news is 24 cycles have passed, and not only have I gotten most of our research done, we're still working on a few little things that we need to get. We need to get into power, but we've also used some of the research we've done, and we built a gas lock here, so this has a vacuum in the middle, meaning that this hot temperature in here can't escape to our base, and the cold won't cause any issues in here. We're also getting in here, building down to get to our geyser. The bad news of the situation is, and for 24 cycles, we have used up most of the oxalate on the map that's already here, so we're starting to get some thin spots in our oxygen. We have some oxygen in places, so people are fine. They're going to survive long enough to get through it, but we need to be mindful of it. I did also crack open a few spaces where there is some oxalate hidden around that will help oxygenate everything. But we do need to be conscious of the oxygen problem. I also think that I might go in here and combine this ethanol into one pool and then tap into this to set up some power to get us away from the manual generator until we can get this up and running, because I want to be able to have this carbon dioxide from the power. So the power is helpful, but also so is the carbon dioxide, because I can drop it down in here into the Alvea Vera plants. Now, it's not a forever solution because that'll heat things up and eventually these will stop working, but for the short term it'll get us more carbon dioxide to turn into oxygen, so our dupes can have some more breathing. So I'm going to work on getting that set up while we finish the research. We still have a little ways to go with that, and we can get some things set up here before we start actually getting in here. We'll have a kind of a bridge to get to that by using the power as a way to supplement the carbon dioxide we need to get more oxygen made. Got another 30 cycles down, and I have all the research done now. So I'm just finishing up working on Atmosuit's research. I don't know that I'm going to get quite into those yet, but soon I'm going to get into those. So I'm finishing that, but I have everything else. All our power research is done. We can do both the hydrogen generator and the petroleum generator. I have the cables I need to make everything work. I have solid transport done, so we can get into that soon. I did all the liquid stuff that I need. I think I'm going to have it queue up the sieve, even though I'm not going to use that right now. I don't have the sand I need to run that, or regolith to be able to use that. So I'm going to have to come up with another solution probably, but it might be once we find another biome that has a lot of it, might be able to use it still. So we might as well get it researched. I have all the stuff here for all the automation I need for both the liquids and the gas. I have gas pumps, and I have automation wire. So we have everything we need to do it. While we were finishing that research, I did dig out down here I left a little bit of this food running for now, at least until we can get it all cleared up. I might clear some of this out. This looks like a good place to set up our power system. So we might lose some of these because they're going to melt anyway once I get some heat going on down here. And I have a big row of Via Veras, so they are tore through all that carbon dioxide that was in there. I also put in some oxalate sconces. Honestly, I thought I'd already done that. I forgot. So that helps distribute oxygen to the places where you need it. So I just put it in the bedrooms so they have a nice oxygenated environment to sleep in. I'm not going crazy with them because we're going to start pumping oxygen very, very soon. So we also dug down in here and we are at the bottom of this room. As far as this water goes in here, we have water and salt water. I think there might be some brine in here too. But none of that matters because when we run it through the desalinator, all of that is going to be okay. Like the water will just pass through, so I'm not worried about having a mixed liquids in here. I was just making sure there's no like ethanol or anything that's going to break my pump, and all of this is fine. So we're going to put a pump in down here. I'm just going to use whatever metal I have. I don't have anything that's high temp yet, so we're just going to be kind of just doing the best we can. And I think what I want to do, I need to set up with our power system. We're going to do the petroleum generators, but I need to put it somewhere where the carbon dioxide is going to come down here, and then I need to set up a collection system for the polluted water underneath it. Now, it's very cold, and at start it might freeze, but we don't want to, be too nuts about it, but I also don't want it to start thawing and then causing problems. So I'm going to do it right here above our area and just kind of leave it open. We're going to do it like that. That way we have enough to put in 2 petroleum generators. And then I'm going to put blocks that come up. Normally I put mesh tiles under it just to make it look good, but I think it's going to freeze inside there and cause problems. So I'm just going to do it like that. And then I'm going to get rid of this ladder. That way I can put a pump there, and the polluted water that comes out, if it's warm enough, we'll be able to manage using that heat somewhere to heat some things up. At the very least, if it falls down here and freezes, that'll be fine too. So we're going to get that built, and then we're going to need to put down some power grid stuff. So I'm going to connect a smart battery. Put it over on this side of that ladder. Put it here. For that, because there's going to be heat above it, I'm going to put some mesh tiles underneath it. Because that way, if anything thaws, it will run through. It won't cause any issues with the battery. We're going to run some heavy watt wire that goes across here to this. And then we're going to put in some power transformers. So I'm just going to do 2 of them like this. Same thing, I'll put mesh tiles underneath them. And that'll give us the power we need. Connect the heavy watt wire to all of that. And we'll connect a conductive wire from here that goes across and then down to here for now. We want to run automation wires as well. So we're going to run from here across to those. And then from here, we need a pump that is going to be a liquid pump. Pick up ethanol. We'll run our power line out from here. And we'll come across to connect up to that. And then we'll run a liquid pipe from here. Come up the same way. Come straight across. And pump ethanol into our generator. That should be everything we need to do. We'll be digging some things out to make that work. And then we'll have power that can come down here. We'll bring this down, and eventually we'll run it through and connect it up to here to the pump, and bring it up to start using this salt water. So this is all, I'm not worrying too much about where I'm placing this, other than the fact that I want to be able to catch any polluted water that spills off, and I also want carbon dioxide to fall down straight onto these. As it heats up, it's going to break all this, but this is all temporary, just so that I can use this ethanol to create some more carbon dioxide, to get some more oxygen, while I'm waiting to get in here, and I can also use that power to get this all started up until we reach the point where we are producing hydrogen and powering the whole system by itself. All right, we've gotten our power thing here set up, our little tiny grid temporary setup. What we don't have is power to actually pump any of the ethanol yet, so I just threw down a manual generator, waiting for Devon to come down here and fire it up. This is just enough to get this to pump, to send some ethanol over to get it started, and then it will power itself using the ethanol in the petroleum generators. So we're going to wait for that to happen. He's on his way now. I think he's one of these guys here, probably. Yep, there he comes. And while we're waiting for that to get pumped up, we're going to take a look at some geysers. So I looked around the map, and if we look at the star map, we can see that we've already uncovered a polluted water vent, saltwater geyser, cool steam vent, volcano, cool slush geyser, and that we know there's an oil reservoir somewhere on the map, as well as 11 other geysers. So as far as that goes, let's take a look at them this way just so we can see. This is our cool steam vent. We don't want to crack into that just yet because we don't have anything to handle it, and because we're working on the saltwater geyser. There's also one I saw down here. It is here. I marked it with a 9. Oops, I want to go through this so we can actually see it. This is volcano, which means we'll be able to get some heat out of that and turn that into some power, which is cool. We'll also be able to use that maybe to make petroleum. We'll see what we have. I don't know. We have another one that is over here in our radiation biome, and it is our polluted water vent. And we have that one up here as well that was a polluted water vent. So we have all of those that we can do some stuff with at some point. Polluted water vents, we're going to have to figure out what we want to do with them. Because like I said, I don't have anything to filter the water yet, so I can't just, it's not as simple as just cracking them open and then running it as a into fresh water, because I don't have any way to turn the polluted water into clean water for now. So I ran that long enough that we have some ethanol running, and now ethanol is going in. It has filled up our battery, and our generators have shut off because of that. Just like I thought, it's so cold here, the polluted water is turning into ice. It's not going to stay that way for long, so that's why I have a place here to catch it. I will eventually put a pump in there once we start having liquid and things start to warm up. So it could be a while for that. So I'm going to remove the manual generator, and now we can start working on getting this pump set up. We have to determine what we want to do as far as setting things up in here. I don't want to bring the salt water out and turn it into water out here because it's cold out here. So I think what I want to do is go in here and set this up so that I just have a place with a desalinator running inside this room, because then I can keep this heat in here, keeping that liquid going well. So I think I'm going to do some mesh tiles here. I think I just need 4 of them for desalinator. Desalinator's under refinement? Yes. And so we're just going to pick one of these metals. I don't have anything really better than anything else to run it right now. We're going to run a pipe that comes from up here into here. And then for now, I think I'm just going to do mesh tiles. And then I'll put in a liquid reservoir that we can run this over to. And we will run the water output into there for the moment. Just long enough for us to get this up and running so that we can do that. We're also going to need some power, and we don't have quite enough metal to do that yet. So we're going to have to run this kind of through here because I don't want to break those tiles. And then we'll have to make some more iron in order to get that built. But once we get that built, we can start processing some salt water into water, and we'll have clean water. And then I think the clean water we'll bring out here, and we'll set up our electrolyzer out here. So as far as that goes, we have salt water, which has a temperature range where it won't freeze unless it's below -7. So if I bring this salt water out and just set it up out here, it's going to freeze pretty quickly. The ethanol will be fine, because I want to do a Hydra setup. So I think we may actually have to do our Hydra inside this room as well. Just trying to think of the easiest way for us to do that. I just want to get one single electrolyzer up and running with pumps that can pump out hydrogen and oxygen, just to get things running, to get some oxygen moving. And then once we do that, we'll take some time to work on getting some critters set up to get us to the point where we can do atmosuits. So our focus today is just getting it set up I think that what we're going to have to do is focus on getting it set up inside this room, because otherwise we're not going to really be able to get things clear. I'm tempted to set up an oxygen station just to get in here, but this is such a small amount of building. I think that we can do it with them running in and out, especially because we have oxygen pretty close down here now, so they can run out and get some breaths. So I think I'll do that. We'll just let them do the thing. We'll get this built first, and then in this section behind it, I'm going to set up a simple electrolyzer. We'll do one that's flooded here, and then we'll probably put it this far over, and then I'll end up putting a gas pump above for hydrogen, and then I'll put a couple on this side for oxygen, and then that'll be it. We'll have hydrogen running out, we'll use that for some self-power, and then we'll have the oxygen running out so we can get it into the base for now, and later we'll get that going into our Atmos suits when we get them set up, hopefully in the next episode. But let's get this finished for now. We have power that we can run into here to get started with this running, and it'll help us with getting some more oxygen. I think for the moment, I'm tempted to just run this to get that carbon dioxide, but we're doing okay on oxygen now that we have the oxalate being delivered up here. We have a little bit of a surplus. I'm going to let it go for now. I don't want to waste the ethanol I have, even though I have a pretty decent amount of it, until we have a way to have a renewable source for it. We'll just let it go. So this will be power for that. I should run power up to here so that we can do that. What I think I'll do is let's put in another layer here where we just put it even with that, just to make our life easier. We'll just take a regular power transformer and we'll run a power line up to that. Like so. And then we'll run a regular power wire because we don't have the refined metal. We'll just bring it over. Let's bring it up this way. And over to here and up. And up. And up to here. That way we have a regular power line, and then this, we can take over this manual generator's job with this regular power wire coming from a transformer down off of this system. That should be good to help us get things running without having to run refined metal all over the place. Alright, we're about to hit cycle 100, and we have gotten our desalinator working. In fact, has filled up our liquid reservoir completely. The water coming out is at 41 degrees, which is fine. We're going to run into electrolyzer, so anything under 70 degrees is going to produce 70-degree oxygen and hydrogen anyway, so that's perfect. Perfect setup at the moment. I'm building little mini Hydra system in here. I'm going to have one electrolyzer. One electrolyzer is going to output 888 grams per second of oxygen and 112 grams per second of hydrogen, and it will filter itself. So we have one pump up here for hydrogen, we have two for the oxygen, and I have pipes that are going out. I have a vent on here so that once we turn this on, these two will start emptying this room out. I'm hoping that because there is hydrogen up here and there's nothing over here, the oxygen will go the correct way. We'll see. I might need to prime this room with oxygen. In fact, I might do it just to be safe anyway, before I turn this on. Once this gets built, the pumps might start running, but the electrolyzer won't because I haven't connected the water input. So this is just finishing, get it built up. Automation's going in place. Basically, it was just the automation is just gonna say that you can't pump unless there is a certain gas pressure. That way we never empty the room out. That way we don't break the priming of the Hydra. So this will always stay hydrogen, this will always stay oxygen, and then we can just let the gases flow. So once we get all this stuff in, we can start doing that. I'm sweeping everything out of there because I'm going to close this up. We're not going back in, so I want to get that cleaned up. And then up here, I am extending our power grid up a little bit. I rerouted our power line for up here because I want this to not be here because it's in my way. And then we're going to run this pipe up, connect it to our hydrogen system here. That way we can pump the hydrogen out, and the hydrogen will run part of our power. I'm putting it out here. It's going to be generating heat, but I think that'll be okay. Eventually, we may need to close off this lower section to make a heated section to prevent it from getting up here if this is where we end up putting crops, but I haven't decided where we're putting our crops and our critters yet. So for now, the extra heat's fine. It will cause some issues with snow and things here melting, and we'll lose our sleet wheat, but I'm hanging on to them as long as I can. Actually, I think I built this. It's going to block these. I don't think they're going to be able to reach that, but we'll see what happens. It will probably fall off on its own. Oh no, they can still reach it from there. That's good. And they can get to this one from this side. Yeah, looks good. We'll be able to grab those sleet wheat, so we can keep using those. This is set to pump in some ethanol to make the first layer of the liquid in the Hydra, but they're so busy with other tasks, they're not doing it yet. Eventually they will, and then we'll get it filled. So get all this stuff finished, we'll be able to do things. I want to turn this to above 20,000 for now, so it shuts off the gas pump here. Does that not work? Or no, I want to be above 0. If it's above 0, send a red signal. Or if it's below 0, send a green signal. That means it's sending a red signal. I don't want these pumps running yet. They're just pumping into the same room. Not useful. I'll set it up once I have the room sealed off, and we can empty this room out first. As far as getting it primed for oxygen, I do think that that's a good idea, just to be safe. We're just going to throw down a pump right here somewhere. I don't want it to be down there. It'll pick up carbon. Let's just put it over here because I see that this is definitely all oxygen. And then we'll run a gas line down like this. And we'll put in a vent. And for now, we'll break this. Actually, let's leave the gas vent off. What I'm going to do is we will disconnect it up here, and we'll use this as our line to vent out this room. This pump here is temporary as well. I want to get all the gas outside of the room in here just to get everything cleared. That way I don't have the hydrogen to leak out. I don't need any gases in here at all. Actually, no, I do need some for the desalinator, so it doesn't overheat. I'll have to give that some more thought. For now, we can let them finish that. We'll finish up our Hydra. Our power system up here is already built, so all we need to do is connect the power lines to it, and the automation lines are already in place. Then all we need to do is run hydrogen into it, and it'll start working. So if we run like this, that'll connect us up to the power grid. This battery will control the automation, and then all we got to do is run hydrogen out there. I got to give that some thought. We'll get back to that in just a minute, but we just hit cycle 100, and we're doing pretty good. We're almost at the point where we're producing oxygen water, which is what our goal is at the moment. So this took me some thinking about how to get this to work just right. I wanted to get the gas out of this room here as much as possible, but I need to have some gas in here so that the things that I have in the room don't overheat. I put some oxygen in the room so that we have oxygen in to get it started, and then I set up a filter. So I have a filter down here. This pump is pumping gas in from inside this room. It was also pumping from in here, but we got this sorted. So now this gas is oxygen and hydrogen. This pump is pumping out in this room, and the hydrogen that was in here went through a filter and then got tapped onto our hydrogen line, which went up to our hydrogen storage. There's an oxygen line, which just puts the gas back out in the room down here. And then there is a line that says not oxygen. So if it goes through here, but it's not oxygen, it's anything that's left. So carbon dioxide, chlorine, anything of that gets sent out through here and dropped out outside. We'll be able to move this, change it, get rid of it now that we have the room ready. But basically, this pump is sending oxygen out. It's going to keep this room pressurized with oxygen so our duplicants can work in here for now. And that oxygen will keep us from overheating in here because we'll have a gas for us to do heat exchange so nothing overheats. We can now hook this up because we've gotten our priming situation set up. So when our liquid goes in here and it turns into either hydrogen or oxygen, it cannot stay in this spot. and so it has to go somewhere. So the hydrogen automatically goes up and into here, oxygen automatically into here. When this goes over 2000, it'll send hydrogen out. When this goes over 2000, it will send oxygen out. If they back up, it won't matter. This room can overpressurize, so can this one. But now we have oxygen coming out. It's going to fill this room up first because I still have that vent there. And then it will go up through this pipe. It will go all the way up to our base and put oxygen out here where they desperately need it. The hydrogen, when it gets over 2000, will come out. It will run through this pipe. It will go up to our tank here, which will go over. And if the power is below 40%, the hydrogen generators will run. I have a damage there. I probably had the wrong gas go in because of the sorting. We'll have to watch just to make sure that there's not something else going on. So all this will now work. This is going to clean the water. The water's going to turn into hydrogen and oxygen, and we're set. What we really need to focus on now is our food situation. Because while we were working on this, our duplicants were not collecting the sleet wheat that's all around the base. So we need our duplicants to take the sleet wheat up to our kitchen where it can get cooked. I did set this to higher priority, so they're pulling the sleet wheat up here. That way our cook can just grab it, cook it faster. So we're getting caught back up quickly, which is good. Let's take this out. Just take some ice. Some more ice, not a problem at all. So we're set for now. We have oxygen coming out. The only issue is this oxygen that we're creating. It's actually coming out pretty hot, but it is... and it's cooling down for now because it's running through some cold environments, but it's going to start warming our base up. And it's going to be a bit of a problem because we're still living in igloos that the floors are going to melt if we don't switch them over soon. So we don't have an urgent issue with that, but we do have an issue. For the most part, all of our hot stuff is still contained in here where we have a bit of a hot zone. I haven't made it insulated, so heat will leak out. And this should continue to handle our carbon dioxide for the time being. Eventually, we're going to want to put better carbon dioxide management in, and we'll switch off the Alvia Vera. But as far as getting us through 100 cycles without actually setting up an oxygen system or a food system, this map was pretty impressive. Now that we have this going, we can start working slowly into the industrial age. We'll get into having some more machinery, some more automation, and I feel much happier about the way I did it in this playthrough after the restart because it was really taking advantage of the Frosty planet. We still have a lot of new things to figure out here. We haven't even made it to the edge of the map. I think we have... Yeah, this is Abyssalite. We haven't even made it to the edge of the map on this side. We haven't made it to the edge of the map on this side. And we haven't made it to the bottom. We did see space already. But there's new critters here. Haven't really even touched them. There's new plants and other critters in other biomes that we definitely want to take advantage of. And there's still very, very little heat. So we have a lot to overcome and find in our map. So for now, I'm very excited about the fact that we are off of just using our... carbon dioxide from our breath to be clean for oxygen, and we're actually producing oxygen. It's a very good thing, but we still have a lot to do before we have conquered the Ceres asteroid and the Frosty planet pack. In the next episode, we are going to be working on critters like crazy because we want wood from them because we're completely out of wood. We're, well, almost completely out of wood. We are going to be working on critters because we want reed fiber from our mammoths so we can get into Atmos suits. And we also want to see what else is in this map and what we can do with it. It has a ton of potential, but we are barely scratching the surface. So next episode, we're going to start doing some more interesting things using the Frosty Planet packs, what it's got to offer for us. Hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.